Hey folks, thank you for tuning in and welcome back once again to This World, My Take. They call me John, and as always, I know not to have you stop by to check out what we have to say. I hope you're having a beautiful week so far and you're doing all your best to keep pushing forward. Now, folks, Mr. Donald Trump recently revised his global tariffs for global partners around the world to America. And I want us to talk about that in this vlog. So this man didn't just place tariffs on countries around the world, but he placed a tariff on America's very own neighbor. One of them, he extended it 90 more days, and the other one, he increased the tariffs from 25% to 35%, which to so many people, you might be wondering, but why is Mr. Trump doing this to one of America's greatest ally? Yes, if you don't know who I'm talking about Canada. Canada has been with America for a long time. Canada has supported. Canada has gone to war with America for a long time. And this man comes into office for his second term. We all remember his whole nonsense of trying to make Canada a U.S. state. We all know how that went. We know that that was just another, brain dead suggestion that he just sent to his base and then, blew that ish up. We all know that this man doesn't even like when somebody stands up to him, like the new Canadian premier has been doing so far. I would say this man had placed a 25% tariff on Canada. And in this new revised tariffs that this man, let the whole world see, he moved that tariff from 25% to 35%. And I will tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure that this has to do with the fact that Canada, the Prime Minister of Canada came out and announced that they will formally recognize Palestine as a state. And if you don't know why, ladies and gentlemen, in recent days, the world has come to see the horrific genocidal things that the state of Israel has been doing to the Palestinian people. And this state has been using starvation as a weapon, as a tool to war. And we saw it. If you didn't see that image, there is a video that I will be doing right after this about that. This country has been doing this thing with the help of the United States of America. And for a neighboring country, Canada, to come out and say that they will recognize Palestine as a state, this provoked the Trump administration, which is why this guy upped the tariff to 35 from 25% to 35%. Heck, he even said that it's going to be difficult to negotiate with Canada just because Canada is trying to do the right thing and recognize the state of Palestine so that these people can have that sovereign right. Now, after announcing this new tariff change on Canada, the Prime Minister of Canada came out with his own statement. And this is what the Prime Minister said regarding the Canada-US trade situation right now. So the Prime Minister wrote, from the office of the Prime Minister, President Trump has announced that the United States would increase its tariff to 35% on those Canadian exports that are not covered under the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement, or the CUSMA. While the Canadian government is disappointed by this action, we remain committed to the CUSMA, the CUSMA, which is the world's second largest free trade agreement by trading volume. It is, ladies and gentlemen. The irony is this man increases for Canada and then he extends the conversation with Mexico. It means like something actually ticked this man off. And he goes further and say the U.S. application of the CUSMA means that the U.S. average tariff rate on Canadian goods remain one of its lowest for all of its trading partners. Other sectors of our economy, including lumber, steel, aluminum, automobiles, are, however, heavily impacted by the U.S. duties and tariffs. For such sector, the Canadian government will act to protect Canadian jobs, invest in our industrial competitiveness, buy Canadian, and diversify our export market. Canada has already been doing that because Canada has already had deals with countries far from the Northern American shores. Yes, they have started doing trade. They exported to South Korea. They had deals in Europe. And this is just to let you guys know that this man's tariff is destroying America's global image to the world. Some of you might come under this and say, but John, isn't it that America has to do it? Ladies and gentlemen, I will say this again. If the top billionaires, the top money maker, the elite in America could pay their own fair share of taxes, trust me, all this back and forth is not necessary. But because we know that this man is just there for these folks, he's going to do everything to protect their wealth and his too, and then try to dismantle the other part of the economy, which we are seeing how it has happened. And let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, whatever tariffs that this man places on any country, if Americans buy from these countries, those tariffs will be paid by the American buyers, not by those countries. Let's be clear about that. Let's continue. The United States has justified its most recent trade action on the basis of cross-border flow of fentanyl, despite the fact that Canada accounts for only 1% of the U.S. fentanyl import and has been working intensively to further reduce these volumes. Canada's government is making historic investment in border security to arrest drug traffickers, take down transnational gangs, and end migrant smuggling. These include thousands of new law enforcement and border security officers, area surveillance, intelligence and security operations, and the strongest border legislation in our history. We will continue working with the United States to stop the scourge of fentanyl and save lives in both countries. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a responsible leader. He knows, he understands the situation, but he is letting the world know this is what we are doing. But we are disappointed that the other side, ran by a bunch of headless chicken, ran by a bunch of incompetent people. Of course, that is America. If you're not following so far, they are just trying to just stoke this situation, make it look worse. It's not as if Canada doesn't have the right to bypass the U.S. and get trade partners around the world. They are already working on that. We heard the former Prime Minister of Canada doing a conference saying what his advisor he gave to the current Prime Minister, which I think Canada has to implement, because if a neighbor is not willing to be fair with you in trade terms, move away from that neighbor and look for other places. There are so many countries around the world that will happily and gladly do business with Canada and Mexico. Let's keep that real. While the negotiation continues to negotiate, while we will continue to negotiate with the United States on our trade relationship, the Canadian government is laser focused on what we can control. Facts. While building Canada strong, the federal government, provinces, and territories are working together to cut down trade barriers to build one Canadian economy. We are developing a series of major nation-building projects with provincial, territorial, and indigenous partners. Together, these initiatives have the potential to catalyze our $500 billion of investment in Canada. This is a smart man, you feel me? He recognizes every fabric of Canada. Unlike this president in America, where we do not recognize certain minorities and what they have done for this country from the get-go. This man is doing his good. Canadians will be our best customer, creating more well-paying careers at home as we strengthen and diversify our trading partnerships throughout the world, correct? We can give ourselves more than any foreign government can ever take away by building with Canadian workers and by using Canadian resources to benefit all Canadians. The Right Honorable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, the 1st of August. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this to end this vlog. Do you see how intelligence works? Do you see how smart these people work? I'm talking about the Prime Minister of Canada, and the Canadians have also started to follow suit. They no longer take vacation trips to America, and that is going to break the tourism industry in this country. They are no longer buying product from America. That will go ahead and break everything in this country. If you do not see that this man is destroying this beautiful country of ours now, then there's something deeply wrong with you. This world is complicated, and we will keep talking about it, folks. Stay blessed and have a great week.